going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 31 Days of Horror. I am your host, Mood616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yes, 31 Days of Horror Volume 7, Day 19 is coming at you live. Alright, so we are going to take it back to the 90s once again, specifically 1993, with a film directed by Ron Bonk. Now, I'm familiar with some of his earlier work, which he put out a couple films in 1997 called Strawberry Estates and The Vicious Suite, which also were released by SRS Cinema. I do have the older DVDs and actually the newer ones too. But some people might be more familiar with his kind of later work. He did a film called She Kills recently, which is more or less kind of like a killer vagina movie, which is really fucking fun, man. It's actually pretty damn fun. And then he also did House Shark, I believe, too, which I'm not into. I haven't seen that. I'm not really into these modern low-budget shark films anymore because they're just so bad that, like, they're unwatchable. So kind of he's did a bunch of films in between that time and the new time, and haven't really seen too much. But anyways, this is his first film from 1993, and it is called City of the Vampires. His first like actual movie. I think he'd done like a documentary or something like that before this, but yeah. So City of the Vampires from 1993, put out by SRS Home Video on this really cool kind of VHS retro line that they've done. They've re-released a lot of their older titles with this new artwork and stuff, and they're all very good looking. They look really nice. So getting into the premise of this one, basically this one follows our main character, Sam Helsing, of course. He is dealing with the loss of his girlfriend. Now, the thing is with his girlfriend, he doesn't know if she's dead or alive. One night, they broke down on the side of the road. He went to go fix his car, and she disappears, and without a trace. He has no idea what happened to her, so he has no idea if she's dead or alive. So he's been contemplating suicide. Mentally, he's not all there. He's very distraught with his life, doesn't really know what to do. He's got a gun. And so he comes to the conclusion that he really wants to find out either way if she's alive or dead to make his own decision on his own life. So he ventures off into the city where he figures that she must be, and he finds out that the city has been completely overtaken by vampires. He does find a couple living humans, which tell him that most of the people in the city have either left or have been killed or have been turned into vampires. And pretty much everybody that's left is pretty much a vampire and stuff like that. So he, with this knowledge, he's like, well, I'm still going to try and find out what happened to my girlfriend. I need to find out if she's alive or dead and stuff like that. So he kind of teams up with this one girl, and, they got to fight for survival against the city of vampires. So that is the premise of the film. Now, my thoughts on this one. Yes, this is a shot-on-video film from 1993. It's very, very low budget. This one, it has some pluses and it has some minuses, Some of the pluses are it has a really good score. In fact, the score actually kind of reminds me of, it's got notes of Carpenter's Halloween in there. It's a different type of score, but you can hear the piano riff in there a little bit. It kind of reminds me of that. But the music overall is actually really good. It's surprisingly really decent. It's got some pretty cool transitions in this. I was quite shocked that they were using some of the video effects and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool because the way they do the transitions, it kind of gets into the mentality of our main character, Sam, and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of a little bit of a nice little transition contrast to his mentality and what's going on in his life. I thought that was kind of cool what they did with that. And it does actually, towards the end, has some pretty okay blood and gore and stuff. That's the thing with this movie. It doesn't really deliver on that note a whole lot. Some of the minuses in the film, which plague a lot of these earlier shot-on-video films, I wouldn't say it's earlier, this is 90s, but is, the budget constraints never allow them to have like a big cast or, just a lot of things going on. So basically in the first half an hour of this movie, it's a lot of our main character kind of contemplating suicide, kind of going through the motions, going into the city and stuff like that. There's really only a handful of dialogue, like lines actually said in the film for like the first half an hour. So it does feel like it's a little bit slow paced. For an 80-minute movie, at first, it does feel like it's a little bit slow moving until he finally, runs into some people he can talk to and things like that. And then things kind of start to unravel and move along a little bit better and stuff like that. But, it's shot on video. There is some establishing shots from overhead helicopters and things like that, which are kind of surprising. But very, very small cast in this one. Like, we've got our main character. I think there really only is about 3, maybe 4 living people in the movie and maybe 4 or 5 vampires total in this film. So the cast is very small overall. There's not really a whole lot of, you think there would be a lot more vampires, a lot more action with that and stuff like that, but there really isn't. It's more about kind of the dark atmosphere. It's about him going through the city and trying to find if his girlfriend has been killed or she's been turned into a vampire and things like that. Yeah, you know, man, it's this one right here is pretty much going to be for more of the hardcore shot on video fans. I've seen a lot worse shot on video type films, you know, I mean, ones that have just, you know, they drag for the first 65, 70 minutes of an 80-minute film. You know, this one doesn't. It's really about the first half an hour, and then it kind of, when he gets to the city and he gets those interactions and stuff, then it starts to, you know, kind of turn into what it is and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's some decent gore effects towards the end. Like I said, there's not even a lot of vampires in the film, so you don't really get a lot of kills. You know, the sequences are what you kind of expect from a no-budget type shot on video film. But, you know, the whole product for itself, you know, you can see the heart that's put into this. You know, the acting actually isn't that bad in this. It's really not that bad. You know, you use what you can use. You know, you take the idea that, you know, holy water is going to kill vampires. You know, that premise has always killed me, because when you're making a low budget shot on video film, what's the first thing that comes to mind if you have no money for props? Go buy yourself like a $20 super soaker gun, fill that shit up with water and start shooting vampires, right? So you got yourself a super soaker, you can kill some damn vampires. I always like that in these low budget films. You've seen that many times over the time. I think they even use that in From Dusk Till Dawn. There's a super soaker that they bless the water and they shoot vampires, right? So whether it be no budget or big budget, that's the ideal thing to do. It always cracks me up. It cracks me up. So, but all in all, you know, like after the movie is done, I'm kind of like, you know what? I've seen worse shot on video films. I've seen a lot better, but the heart here from Ron Bonk, and it is a pretty good first full-length feature for pretty much having no damn budget and stuff. I know Ron Bonk actually has an appearance in the film. I think he plays a vampire or something like that. Or maybe he plays one of the living. I can't remember which one he is, but he is actually in the film for a little bit. I think his brother actually plays the main vampire villain. You know, the guy that's you know, the main boss kind of vampire in this too. So, yeah, I gotta say though, the main character Sam has one of the most beautiful mullets. It's like this great early 90s mullet. It's so fantastic. It's just hilarious to look at, man. It's just so classic, dude. I feel like this movie might have been shot even earlier, probably like 91, maybe 92. It just seems like that type of mullet was a little bit too late in the 90s. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, you know, the pluses. The music's really good. The movie overall, as a shot on video, has its moments. You know, it's edited pretty decent. It's not too bad. So on the shot on video scale, I'm going to come in at about a 6 out of 10. I've seen a lot worse. I've seen a lot better, but it's really not a bad watch at all. City of the Vampires. I'd heard about this one for so long, and I've actually had this in the collection, I think, for a while too. So, but never checked it out. And, you know, like I said, you know, shot on video directors, low budget stuff can be hit and miss. Sometimes it's better than others. It is what it is. City of the Vampires. Day 19, not a bad watch, but look at that artwork though. That artwork's fantastic. Pretty cool stuff. Just not a whole lot more to report on. City of the Vampires. Day 19. I'll check you guys tomorrow in day 20. And till then,